Hello and welcome. I am Vidyadhar. Today's episode is dedicated to God. Think over the doors a bit. In every age, humanity has stood before five great doors of understanding. Each door opens onto a different landscape of knowing of the world. First is the door of reason. It is the philosophic framework which we have studied. Here we learned that knowledge begins with questioning. To think is to order the chaos of experience. Philosophy taught us that every inquiry rests upon three foundations: being, knowing, and valuing. This was our first step from curiosity to coherence. The second door is the door of vision, which is the Darshanic framework. This door opened into the door of Indian tradition. Here, Indian philosophy revealed its ancient discipline of seeing, which means Darshana. We discovered that truth is not just an argument but a vision. That wisdom traditions are systems of realization, not merely of belief. This door connected rationality with heritage and logic with insight. The next door is the door of evidence, which is the great scientific method. Here, we entered the world of observation, experiment, and verification. Science gave us clarity, precision, and power, but also revealed its limits. It could describe the how, yet it struggled with the questions of the type why. The door of evidence brought certainty but also humility. The next door is the door of imagination, which led us to paranotions of science. Beyond evidence, we found the paranotions of science. Here, we realized that even science rests upon the unseen being the fields, the wave functions, the probabilities, which are all paranotions. Bridging the measurable and the meaningful is the quest of science. Imagination became not illusion but instrument, a disciplined bridge between mind and matter. This was the fourth door where understanding touched its own mystery. And then, since we thought that we have no clue to understand, we are opening this, the door, and that door is the door of awe. We name it as Oh My God. This is the fifth door. This door is not of argument or analysis, it is a doorway of wonder. the point where all frameworks converge and dissolve into reverence. Here, the universe no longer appears as an object but as presence. Here, reason bows to mystery and imagination ripens into intuition. We now give some thought to the field of awe. Have a look at the figure. Have you ever paused to ask, what do we mean when we say God? Is it the creator of the universe, the law of nature, the moral voice within, or simply the unknown given a name? Across civilizations, the divine has been our oldest companion and our most persistent mystery. From Vedic hymns to modern science, from prayer to proof, the idea of God has affected how we think, feel, and act. The phrase, "Oh my God," is not a cry of belief but of realization. It is the ancient sound of consciousness awakening to its own source, the mind's astonishment before existence itself. Through this fifth door, we enter the realm where philosophy, science, and spirituality cease to be complete and begin to discuss. This is the threshold of pragmasophic, where knowing becomes seeing and seeing becomes being. In here, we will traverse from fear to freedom. It's a pragmasophic exploration. This is how we were 50,000 years back, sitting near a fire and looking at nature's wonder in awe. For early humans, the world was alive with invisible powers. Thunder spoke, rivers roared, shadows moved. The mind, unable to bear randomness, imagined intention. Thus began animism, the first theology of fear. Cognition takes over. Think over the figure a little bit. With time, spirits became gods of wind, fire, and rain. It was the birth of polytheism. Then came the unifying leap, monotheism, the one behind the many. And later came the human reflective turn, the philosophy, which asked, is God real? Is he a person, a principle, or pure being? In pragmasophic reading, this journey reflects the evolution of cognitive coherence, fear giving way to understanding, and mythology transforming into meaning. The figure depicts a development path. Humanity has imagined the divine in four recurring archetypes: the personal God, who listens, loves, punishes, and commands; the creator God, who begins the universe and sustains its order; the God of gaps, who fills our ignorance until we learn; and lastly, the God as idol, the visible focus of invisible reverence. None of these are false. Each is functional. They represent how the mind engages with the infinite through limited forms. Over time, six philosophical positions have crystallized. Have a look at the figure. We will move from left to the right position. Monotheism, one supreme creator who is moral and personal. Polytheism, many divine functions distributed across gods of particular function. Pantheism, all is existence, it is divine, and God and the world are not different but one. Deism, God is distant architect, but the world runs on its own. We call it as a creator God. Atheism, the universe is self-sufficient, no need for a deity. And lastly, agnosticism, the wise admit that we simply do not know, nor we will ever know. Each of these is not merely a belief, but a cognitive stance, a different balance between certainty and wonder. In pragmasophy, they form a continuum of consciousness, not of contradictions. Wonder why the figure is shown in black? It's because we are going to look at the troubles with the concept of God. These are the logic troubles with the concept of God. Every theology faces its paradoxes. If God knows everything, can we truly be free? If the universe has always existed, what does it mean to create? If God is all good and all powerful, whence comes the evil? And if the divine is formless, why worship form? These contradictions are not flaws, they are philosophical triggers. They transform belief into inquiry and ritual into reflection. It is these tensions that theology matures into what we call it as new theology. Think of the two figures a little bit. India's Darshanas and the West's philosophical theologies converge in purpose to understand order. Advaita Vedanta declares only Brahman is real, God is a provisional face of the Absolute. Dvaita and Vishishtadvaita restore the personal creator inseparable from love. Nyaya Vaisheshika presents God as rational arranger, not magician. Sankhya and Buddhism reject divine agency, the law and mind suffice. In the West, Aristotle imagined an unmoved mover, pure actuality without emotion. Christianity turned that principle into a person who loves. Deism made God a clockmaker, distant, elegant, but silent. Across continents, the dialogue continues between transcendence and immanence, faith and reason, devotion and understanding. Here, the figure shows what we will call it as pragmatics of God. Have a look at it. Whatever one's metaphysics, God performs enduring pragmatic roles. As ethical source, God stabilizes morality. Commandments, dharma, and moral law are derived from reverence of the unseen. As a behavioral regulator, divine observation becomes the mirror of conscience, the watcher within everybody of us. As psychological counselor, God comforts, reframes, and heals. To pray is to strengthen one's integrated self. As social integrator, shared faith synchronizes emotion into community coherence. As an existential anchor, God gives hope of converting suffering to well-being. Note the shrinking gaps. As science explained the heavens, the old gods of thunder and epidemics of plague withdrew. Yet the human longing for coherence persisted. The god of gaps faded but gave birth to a new divinity called as God of Mind. From cosmic maker to systemic metaphor, the divine evolved but not vanished. In pragmasophy, this is not loss of faith but transformation of the context. Let us have a quick look at methods of worship. When the mind holds what it cannot see, it turns to symbol. The idol, often dismissed as primitive, is in fact a cognitive instrument. It translates abstractions into tangible focus. Any language, in fact, is also a denotative instrument. Worship through form refines perception until the form dissolves. Form is finite image, to the infinite immanence. The divine becomes inner presence. Look at this intriguing loop. In systemic perspective, God is the holon of coherence. It unites our knowing with our doing, our truth with our purpose. In that sense, divinity is not an object, but an organizing principle within consciousness. It is the dynamic equilibrium that keeps verity and volition in dialogue. The left circle and the right circle are coupled with each other in a feedback loop. Humanity's spiritual evolution traces a single arc from fear through faith to freedom. The freedom to subjectively either choose or reject the idea of God. When the gods of fear became the gods of faith, and faith matured into understanding, the divine ceased to command and began to resonate with mind. The highest form of theism is theonomy, which means to live by inner divine order, not by outer authority. Thus ends the question, who is God? And begins the deeper one, what makes us seek and what do we seek? The concept and theme was by Vidyadhar Tirak, that is myself. The tools used were GPT, Gemini, and PowerPoint, and the knowledge pool was all human cultures. Pragmasophy is Prajna Yajna. Please subscribe to my channel and visit my website if you are interested in the explorations into actionable knowledge and systemic thinking. Thank you. Thank you very much.